Today, McDonald's is the biggest fast food chain on the planet. Over 100 countries, tens of thousands of locations, billions of burgers sold. Whether you're craving fries in Tokyo or a Big Mac in Times Square, there's one thing everyone agrees on. McDonald's is fast food. But what most people don't know is that behind the golden arches is one of the wildest, most cutthroat business stories in history. A story involving betrayal, manipulation, backroom deals, and how the two brothers who started it all were pushed completely out of the picture while someone else built a billion-dollar empire off their vision.
And in this video, I will walk you through the entire true story, how McDonald's went from a small California burger stand to a global powerhouse, and how it happened in a way you were never taught in school.
In the quiet town of San Bernardino, California, in the year 1940, something small was sizzling. A little stand on the corner of 14th and E Street began doing something that would forever change the way the world eats. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't even new. But it was fast. Two brothers, Richard and Maurice McDonald, sons of Irish immigrants, had a dream not to become rich or famous, but to serve good food, fast and efficiently. Back then, the typical American diner was chaotic. Long wait times, servers hustling between cars, and menus that ran longer than a telephone book. But Dick and Mac, they wanted something different, something simpler. So they shut their original restaurant down for 3 months. And when they reopened, it was unlike anything anyone had seen before. They called it the Speedy Service System. The kitchen was now a factory, a well-oiled machine. Each man had a task. No waiters, no tables, no delays. Just burgers, fries, and shakes. That's it. People came in, ordered at the window, and left in minutes. Happy, full, and amazed. But what the McDonald brothers didn't realize was they weren't just flipping burgers. They were revolutionizing the entire restaurant industry. Enter Ray Kroc, a struggling milkshake machine salesman. Ray was 52 years old. He'd sold paper cups, real estate, and finally, milkshake mixers. But he was far from rich, far from fulfilled. One day he got a strange order. One restaurant had requested 8 milkshake machines, enough to make 40 milkshakes at once. Confused and intrigued, Ray drove across the country to San Bernardino, and when he arrived, he didn't see a burger stand. He saw the future. Where others saw a small, successful burger joint, Ray Kroc saw a system, a model, something that could scale across America and eventually the world. He convinced the brothers to let him franchise their idea. And in 1955, the first official McDonald's franchise opened in Des Plaines, Illinois, with Ray at the helm. But Ray wasn't just building restaurants. He was building a culture. He introduced consistency. No matter where you went, a Big Mac would taste the same, from Chicago to California, and soon from New York to Tokyo. Ray understood something others didn't. The product wasn't just the food, it was the experience. He created a training school, Hamburger University, where franchisees were taught the McDonald's way. He didn't just create jobs, he created systems. Systems that became a blueprint for modern franchising. And the results? Staggering. If you think this is the only thing, this is all you didn't know about the McDonald's story, just wait until you hear. Even though he was 52, he was a traveling milkshake mixer salesman, tired, failing. One day, he noticed that the McDonald brothers ordered 8 of his mixers, an unusually large number for a single location. Curious, he drove to San Bernardino. What he saw blew him away. Lines out the door, food in seconds, smiling customers. He knew instantly this wasn't just a restaurant. It was a gold mine. Ray convinced the brothers to let him franchise the concept. Reluctantly, they agreed. And Ray Kroc hit the road. 1 franchise, then 10, then hundreds. The American suburbs were exploding, and Ray saw McDonald's as their perfect match. But behind the scenes, a war was brewing. Now, before I get into the next chapter, which may completely change the way you think about McDonald's, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are craving a Big Mac now. Ray wasn't just selling burgers. He was selling an idea. He standardized everything: the size of the buns, the color of the floors, the exact number of pickles. Cleanliness, consistency, and speed, he said. That's the McDonald's way. Under Ray's direction, the Golden Arches became icons. The clown, Ronald McDonald, became a cultural symbol. And Happy Meals weren't just meals, they were a childhood ritual. Ray built training schools, real estate deals, and a supply chain unlike anything before it. By the 1960s, McDonald's wasn't a restaurant chain, it was a machine. And Ray Kroc was its cold, brilliant engineer. But the McDonald brothers, they were fading fast. This is the last time McDonald's was thought of as a small-time burger joint. By the 1970s and 80s, McDonald's became more than food. It became culture. From Tokyo to Toronto, Sydney to Soweto, the Arches went global. They sold burgers, yes, but also the American dream. In the USSR, the first McDonald's opened in 1990 to a crowd of 38,000 people. In China, McDonald's became a symbol of openness. It was efficient, fast, affordable, and everywhere. McDonald's was more recognizable than the Christian cross. It sponsored the Olympics, released blockbuster toys, influenced generations. But success had a price. The next chapter is going to be an interesting one, and I won't want you to pay rapt attention. All right, let's go. In 1961, Ray offered to buy the McDonald brothers out for $2.7 million. They accepted. It was supposed to be the end. But Ray wanted more. The brothers had asked to keep their original restaurant. Ray denied them the right to use their own name. He opened a new McDonald's right across the street. The original McDonald's closed, and the brothers, the true founders, disappeared into obscurity. Ray called himself the founder from then on. It was brutal, it was business, and it worked. But there is more to this exciting story, which will unfold in the next chapter. Launched in 1979, the Happy Meal became a marketing genius move. Toys from Disney, Pixar, and Marvel. Limited time collections. Kids begged. Parents gave in. It wasn't just about food. It was about emotion, nostalgia, childhood joy. One meal, one toy, and a lifetime of loyalty. It was never just a meal. It was a box. A box filled with fries, nuggets, dreams, and a toy that changed everything. Welcome to the story of the Happy Meal, how McDonald's turned food into fantasy and kids into customers for life. Enter Bob Bernstein, a marketer with a wild idea. What if we gave kids their meal, a box filled with fun and a surprise? There's no doubt that the birth of the first Happy Meal in 1979 was a tremendous milestone to the company. Inside, a hamburger, fries, a small drink, and a toy. Not just a toy, but one that spoke the language of children, adventure. At first, the toys were simple, Snoopy, Hot Wheels, and puzzles, But McDonald's had unlocked something bigger than a toy. They'd discovered a gateway to loyalty. Children didn't just want the meal, they begged for it. Soon, the toys evolved. Not just plastic playthings, but branded treasures. Disney, Batman, Star Wars, Pokemon. McDonald's wasn't selling burgers anymore, they were selling moments. Tiny collectible memories, one toy at a time. Every Happy Meal was now a limited edition event. Kids didn't just want lunch, they wanted to collect them all. McDonald's had done something genius. They turned fast food into a weekly tradition, an affordable ritual wrapped in red and yellow. And parents, they came along for the ride, because behind every child's Happy Meal was another full meal. Mom, dad, maybe even a coffee or two. McDonald's wasn't just feeding kids, they were feeding families. Through the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, Happy Meals became a global phenomenon. From Tokyo to Toronto, Lagos to London, every child everywhere knew the joy of pulling open that cardboard box and wondering, what's inside today? Behind the scenes, an empire was moving. McDonald's teamed up with the biggest names in entertainment. Mattel, Hasbro, Pixar, DreamWorks. Each partnership wasn't just a toy deal, it was cross-promotion magic. A new movie meant new toys. New toys meant repeat visits. Repeat visits meant more sales. The Happy Meal wasn't just a box, it was a marketing machine. But not everyone was smiling. Critics began to speak. Was this really about happiness or habit? The bright red box, they said, was a gateway to addiction, sugar, fat, and advertising. Some called it predatory marketing aimed at children too young to say no. In places like San Francisco, toys were banned unless meals met specific nutrition standards. McDonald's had to evolve or lose the generation they helped shape. So, they adapted. Out went soda, in came milk. Out went fries, in came apple slices. Toys were redesigned, sometimes even swapped for books. They launched literacy programs, partnered with health advocates, and shifted the narrative.
Still fun, still colorful,
but now a little more conscious. Today, over 100 countries serve the Happy Meal. More than 1 billion boxes are sold every year. It remains one of the most successful marketing ideas in history. Not just because of what's inside the box, but because of what it created outside the box. Tradition, loyalty, emotion. In a world chasing attention, McDonald's didn't just grab it, they held it, nurtured it, and passed it from one generation to the next. And all it took was a meal, a box, and one little toy. There are so many other things you need to know about McDonald's, and the next chapter will do justice to that. So, let's dive further. It wasn't just the food. It wasn't even just the toy. It was the magic of cinema. Shrunk down, sealed in a red box, and handed to a child with a smile. This is the story of how McDonald's and Hollywood teamed up to create one of the most powerful marketing machines the world has ever seen. A tale of burgers, blockbusters, and branding brilliance. The 1980s weren't just a golden age of film. They were a golden age of childhood wonder. And McDonald's was paying attention. At the heart of that wonder, the Happy Meal. Introduced in 1979, it was already a game changer. But when McDonald's added the element of cinema, it became something else entirely. A cultural event. Every time a blockbuster dropped, McDonald's didn't just serve food. They served a piece of the movie. Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, Pixar. From The Little Mermaid to Toy Story, from Batman to Jurassic Park, the biggest franchises in the world weren't just on the screen. They were now in your kid's Happy Meal. The toys were more than plastic. They were miniature movie moments. For many kids, this was the first time they could own a piece of Hollywood. And McDonald's made sure you had to come back, again and again, to collect the entire set. One week, it was Aladdin's magic carpet. Next week, Jafar's snake staff. Every visit was another episode in the adventure. In 1996, the relationship reached a blockbuster level. McDonald's and Disney signed a 10-year global partnership, a deal worth billions. It meant McDonald's had exclusive rights to promote every Disney release, including Pixar hits. Think Toy Story, Mulan, The Lion King, Tarzan. Every time the opening credits rolled in theaters, McDonald's cash registers rang too. It wasn't a tie-in. It was a cinematic takeover of the fast food world. But the real genius? They weren't selling just to kids. They were selling to families. Kids wanted the toy. Parents came for the convenience. McDonald's became the go-to family destination, not just after school, but after every movie night. It was a full-circle strategy. See the movie, then live it, at McDonald's. But not everyone was clapping. Critics slammed the strategy as manipulative. Health advocates accused McDonald's of luring children into lifelong eating habits with cinematic bait. By the early 2000s, pressure mounted. Nutrition labels, obesity lawsuits, city bans on Happy Meal toys, and then the partnership with Disney ended in 2006. The magic seemed to fade. Hollywood and McDonald's went their separate ways, but you can't keep the arches down for long. McDonald's reimagined the Happy Meal. Healthier meals, book promotions. Still fun, but less flashy. Then in 2018, a comeback. After more than a decade, McDonald's and Disney reunited. Kicking off with Incredibles 2, the partnership was back. Better values and bigger ambition. Now they weren't just pushing toys, they were pushing storytelling, books, online games, digital codes. The Happy Meal was evolving with the times. But the connection remained the same. Movies spark emotion. McDonald's bottles that emotion into a $4 box. And while films fade from theaters, the Happy Meal lives on in car seats, lunch tables, and childhood memories around the world. McDonald's didn't just feed children, they entertained them. They handed them the universe, one toy at a time. And Hollywood? Well, Hollywood found the best stage wasn't always the big screen. Sometimes it was the backseat of a minivan, with French fries in one hand and a Happy Meal toy in the other. This is the power of storytelling. This is the magic of marketing. This is McDonald's and the movies. Isn't that interesting? Competition rose. Burger King, Wendy's, KFC. But McDonald's had a secret weapon: scale. Its supply chain was a fortress. Its franchise model is unmatched. New locations popped up like mushrooms after rain. While others fought to keep up, McDonald's set the pace. The franchise war wasn't fought with food. It was fought with logistics. Even though McDonald's won, it was not an easy route. Before the Golden Arches ruled the globe, before billions were served, there was just a grill, a vision, and a war. A war not with guns or bombs, but with contracts, egos, and a dream called franchise power. This is the untold story of McDonald's franchise wars, where the real battle wasn't in the kitchen, it was in the boardroom. Meet Dick and Mac McDonald, hardworking, innovative. They ran a small burger stand in California with a simple mission: serve hot food, fast. They pioneered the speedy service system, a revolutionary idea that streamlined the kitchen like an assembly line. No waiters, no plates, just burgers, fries, and shakes, delivered in under a minute. Business boomed. But the brothers weren't dreaming of a global empire. They wanted quality, not quantity. But then came Ray Kroc, a struggling milkshake machine salesman in his 50s. He saw more than burgers. He saw a revolution. 8 multi-mixers in one small stand? This wasn't a restaurant. It was a gold mine. Kroc approached the brothers with a proposal. Let him franchise the McDonald's model nationwide. They hesitated, but eventually said yes. What they didn't know was, they'd just signed away the future. Kroc was relentless. He wasn't just selling burgers, he was selling a system. Cleanliness, consistency, control. Every location was a clone of the last. But while Kroc dreamed big, the McDonald brothers stayed small. They dragged their feet, resisted changes, and clung to the past. Kroc was franchising fast, but he didn't own the name. He was building someone else's kingdom. And that's when the real franchise war began. The relationship soured. Kroc wanted to expand. The brothers wanted to protect their legacy. They denied him changes, refused new ideas, tightened control from their little California office. Kroc grew furious. In one meeting, he snapped, "If they're not going to let me build my dream, I'll buy it." In 1961, Kroc made his move. He bought the McDonald brothers out for $2.7 million. They asked for lifetime royalties. Kroc agreed, verbally, but nothing was put in writing. The brothers would never see another dime. To Kroc, this wasn't just business, it was warfare. He erased them from the story, took their name, and built the empire his way. As a final blow, Kroc opened a brand new McDonald's right next to the brothers' original store. He undercut their prices, outmarketed them. Eventually, they shut down. The war was over. The flag planted. Kroc had won. With the brand now his, Kroc scaled aggressively. By the late 1960s, McDonald's had over 1,000 stores, but Kroc didn't just expand, he tightened control. Franchisees followed strict guidelines, no deviation, no creativity. One ketchup packet too many, you'd get a call from headquarters. It was militaristic and it worked. The success sparked copycats. Burger King tried to outbroil. Wendy's flaunted fresh, never frozen. Taco Bell catered to a different craving. The franchise war expanded beyond McDonald's, but they stayed ahead. Why? Because Kroc wasn't just selling food, he was selling a real estate strategy. Here's the secret most people miss. McDonald's doesn't make its money from burgers. It comes from the land. Kroc's genius was founding the Franchise Realty Corporation. McDonald's bought the land. Franchisees paid rent. So even if a store failed, McDonald's still won. It wasn't just franchising, it was financial domination. Today, McDonald's is the most successful franchise in history, over 40,000 locations in more than 100 countries, billions served. And it all began with a small kitchen and a war between visionaries. The franchise wars weren't fought with bullets, but with contracts, courage, and an unshakable belief in scaling a system. Ray Kroc didn't invent McDonald's, but he took it, transformed it, and built a kingdom out of burgers. Because in the end, the war wasn't about food, it was about control. In 1961, with $2.7 million and a handshake deal, Ray Kroc became the undisputed owner of McDonald's. But for Kroc, this was never just about ownership. It was about building the world's most unstoppable food empire. The moment Ray Kroc bought out the McDonald brothers, everything changed. He dropped the name McDonald's System, Inc. and founded McDonald's Corporation. No more compromises, no more debate, just one man's vision backed by corporate muscle. Kroc wasn't a chef, he knew business. He wasn't just building a restaurant, he was creating a brand, something that could live beyond the plate of fries. Ray Kroc's genius wasn't in inventing the hamburger, it was in replicating success. He created a strict franchise system where every McDonald's would look the same, feel the same, taste the same. From California to Connecticut, a Big Mac was a Big Mac, and consistency became king. Voiceover from Ray Kroc interview. When you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. To control quality, Kroc launched Hamburger University in 1961. Here, franchisees learned everything, from food prep to company culture. McDonald's was no longer a restaurant, it was a system. But what truly elevated McDonald's was branding. In 1963, McDonald's introduced its most powerful ambassador, Ronald McDonald, the clown who would become the most recognized character in children's advertising. It's a happy place, a McDonald's place. Later came the Happy Meal, a masterstroke that turned fast food into a child's paradise. Playgrounds, toys, family dinners on the go. McDonald's was no longer selling food. It was selling joy, trust, and convenience. In 1967, McDonald's opened its first international store in Richmond, British Columbia, Canada. Then came Puerto Rico, Japan, the Netherlands, Australia. Every new country brought unique challenges, but Kroc's system was flexible. Menus were adapted for local tastes. From teriyaki burgers in Japan to McSpicy paneer in India, McDonald's could globalize before the term even existed. The secret? A global system with local flavor. In the 1970s, McDonald's marketing hit full throttle. TV commercials aired during kids' cartoons, family sitcoms, and sporting events. Slogans like "You deserve a break today" became cultural staples. And in 1975, McDonald's launched its first drive-thru, responding to soldiers on a military base in Arizona. Convenience became unstoppable. By the end of the 1970s, McDonald's had over 5,000 restaurants globally. It had redefined capitalism in food. Its model became the blueprint for fast food: franchising, efficiency, marketing, and consistency. Ray Kroc's relentless pursuit of perfection had turned a local burger shack into a global cultural force. But the rise came with a price. Behind the golden arches were emerging shadows of labor struggles, health concerns, and critics of corporate power. If you think this is all you have to know about McDonald's, then the next chapter will take you by surprise. By the 1980s, the Golden Arches weren't just a symbol of fast food. They were a symbol of America itself. McDonald's wasn't just opening restaurants anymore. It was opening worlds. Ray Kroc had laid the foundation. Now McDonald's was on a mission to conquer the planet. By the early 80s, McDonald's had over 6,000 locations in more than 25 countries. The goal? Be as familiar in Moscow or Manila as in Michigan. In each new country, McDonald's did something radical. They adapted. From the Macarabia in the Middle East to the Samurai Burger in Thailand, McDonald's learned how to taste like home, wherever home was. Yet even as it adapted, it always looked the same. Same colors, same logo, same rhythm. This was the power of the McDonald's brand. Local comfort, global familiarity. McDonald's didn't just serve burgers, it sold a way of life. For many across the globe, eating at McDonald's was more than a meal. It was a symbol of modernity, of prosperity, of joining the Western dream. In post-communist nations, the arrival of McDonald's was historic. That first day, 30,000 Russians came to taste capitalism in a sesame seed bun. It was the largest opening day in fast food history. For kids, McDonald's became a rite of passage. Birthday parties, Happy Meals, play places. It wasn't just about the food, it was about the memory. In the 1980s and 90s, McDonald's went from restaurant to pop culture icon. Ronald McDonald became one of the most recognized characters in the world. Children's charities like the Ronald McDonald House made the brand a symbol of care. And then came the Happy Meal toys. From Disney to Pokemon to Star Wars, the Golden Arches became a marketing machine. Kids didn't just ask for lunch, they asked for the toy inside the box. McDonald's became the largest toy distributor in the world. Yes, bigger than Hasbro, Mattel, or Lego. But the road to global domination wasn't smooth. In the 1980s, Burger King, Wendy's, and Taco Bell launched aggressive campaigns. The fast food wars began. Burger King mocked McDonald's with taste tests. Wendy's asked, "Where's the beef?" Taco Bell challenged McDonald's on variety. But McDonald's had a weapon they didn't: scale. Its global infrastructure, real estate empire, and brand loyalty made it nearly untouchable. By 1990, McDonald's was serving 22 million customers every day. In the U.S. alone, more than 90% of children recognized Ronald McDonald. But as the 1990s drew to a close, the golden glow began to fade. Critics sharpened their knives. Documentaries like Super Size Me exposed the health risks. Lawsuits emerged. Activists decried the corporation's treatment of animals, workers, and the environment. In 1992, a group of environmentalists published the infamous McLibel pamphlet, leading to one of the longest legal battles in British history. The company won the case, but lost in the court of public opinion. McDonald's was still huge, but cracks were showing. People questioned its food, its ethics, its influence. Was it feeding the world or feeding an addiction? Was McDonald's a symbol of progress or of corporate greed? By the end of the 90s, McDonald's had over 30,000 restaurants in 121 countries. But as the new millennium approached, it faced a new challenge: relevance. To survive the 21st century, McDonald's couldn't just be big, it had to be better. Now, before I get into the next chapter, which may give you another perspective on this mind-blowing story about McDonald's, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not done so.
By the year 2000, McDonald's was no longer the face of the future, it was the face of a problem. The new millennium opened with warning signs. Consumers were changing, health was trending, and McDonald's, it was still selling super-sized fries and 64-ounce sodas. Then came the bombshell. Morgan Spurlock ate McDonald's for 30 days. The results? Weight gain, liver damage, depression, and a PR crisis for the Golden Arches. Overnight, supersize became a dirty word. McDonald's pulled the option off the menu, but the damage was done. Criticism rose. Fast casual brands like Subway, Chipotle, and Panera Bread gained ground. McDonald's, once seen as modern, looked outdated. The decor was aging. The food was predictable. The innovation? Missing. Shareholders worried. Consumers drifted. And in 2003, tragedy struck. CEO Jim Cantalupo died suddenly. It seemed like the empire was losing its way. But in the ashes of crisis, McDonald's began to reimagine itself. First came the menu makeover: salads, apple slices, yogurt, calorie counts on menus, a shift from quantity to quality perception. Then came the McCafe movement: espresso drinks, smoothies, and coffee, targeting Starbucks lovers on a budget. The restaurant itself changed too. Out went the plastic booths and clown colors. In came warm tones, wood finishes, touchscreens, and Wi-Fi. McDonald's stopped feeling like a fast food chain and started feeling like a modern cafe. The next leap? Technology. McDonald's embraced digital transformation. They rolled out touchscreen kiosks, mobile ordering, and app-based rewards. And then the delivery boom. With partners like Uber Eats and DoorDash, McDonald's wasn't just down the street, it was at your door. They even tested AI drive-through tech and began integrating facial recognition for menu personalization in Asia. McDonald's wasn't just catching up, it was leaping ahead. But McDonald's comeback didn't stop with tech. It tapped into culture, relevance, hype. Enter the celebrity meal era. Fans lined up, merch sold out, Twitter exploded. It was no longer just about food, it was about experience. A Big Mac, fries, and Sprite became the new concert ticket. McDonald's had officially entered the hype economy. By 2019, McDonald's had bounced back hard. Over 38,000 locations worldwide, billions in revenue, and a fresh new image built on innovation and self-awareness. The brand had pulled off one of the most impressive turnarounds in corporate history, but its challenges weren't over. The world was about to change, permanently. A virus, a shutdown, a global reset. And McDonald's, like every business, had to answer the same question. Can we survive when the world stops moving? Because the next chapter would test everything. Are you wondering if the 2020 pandemic harmed McDonald's performance and revenue? The answer is in the next chapter. In 2020, the world changed. Streets went silent, cities paused, and McDonald's, the world's busiest restaurant chain, was faced with its most unpredictable enemy, stillness. In March 2020, as the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the globe, McDonald's shut down thousands of stores worldwide. Even drive-thrus, once taken for granted, became a lifeline. Dining rooms went dark. Employees stayed home. Famous golden arches went dim, one by one. For the first time in decades, McDonald's faced invisible danger, not from a competitor, but from a virus. Sales plummeted. Jobs were lost. Franchisees struggled to survive. But inside McDonald's global HQ, the crisis wasn't just seen as a threat. It was seen as an accelerator. What was supposed to happen in 5 years now had to happen in 5 months. The company ramped up mobile ordering, streamlined the menu, and doubled down on delivery and digital sales. Contactless payments, curbside pickups, digital-only locations. McDonald's was learning to run without a front counter. Out of crisis came one of McDonald's boldest moves yet. McDonald's, a complete digital loyalty and personalization platform. The app didn't just let customers order. It learned, it recommended, it rewarded behavior like a tech company. McDonald's wasn't just feeding people anymore, it was feeding data back into its system. A restaurant with billions of transactions, now armed with AI and analytics. But food wasn't the only thing on the menu in the 2020s. So were ethics, diversity, and sustainability. As protests echoed across cities, McDonald's responded with commitments to racial equity, raising minimum wages at company-owned stores, healthier menu innovations, sustainable packaging, and a goal of net zero emissions by 2050. In an era of accountability, McDonald's wasn't just a fast food giant. It wanted to be seen as a responsible global citizen. Then came the next wave, automation. In 2021, McDonald's began testing fully automated drive-through systems, powered by artificial intelligence. Voice bots took orders. Robotic arms flipped patties. Digital-only stores opened with no human cashiers. And in 2023, McDonald's began rolling out its first AI-powered restaurants in Texas and Shanghai, where customers interacted with screens and sensors instead of people. Efficiency, consistency, and control. Was this the future, or a warning? Through all of it, a global shutdown, cultural upheaval, rising inflation, McDonald's survived, adapted, and in many ways, thrived. $23 billion in annual revenue, 40,000 plus global restaurants, a digital ecosystem that rivals tech startups, and customer loyalty that spans generations. McDonald's didn't just serve food. It served consistency in chaos. When the world was uncertain, people ordered what they remembered. But the question now isn't where McDonald's is, it's where it's going. As the food industry shifts toward sustainability, local sourcing, plant-based meals, and ethical labor, can a company built on speed and scale remain relevant? Or will the very systems that made it powerful also become its greatest challenge? The future is being ordered, one ad said. Would you like fries with that? Today, McDonald's operates in over 100 countries, with more than 40,000 restaurants serving millions of people daily. But it's not just about food. McDonald's shaped how businesses run today. They mastered real estate strategy, owning most of the land their franchises sit on, making them a food empire and a property giant. They pioneered supply chain efficiency, ensuring every fry, every burger, every bun met the same standard, globally. And they changed how we view time, making fast the expectation, not the exception. The impact? Other industries copied the playbook. Think about it. Starbucks, Subway, Domino's, all follow the same model. Replicate, standardize, scale. But behind the bright lights and golden arches, there's a deeper truth. Ray Kroc didn't invent the burger. The McDonald brothers didn't invent fast food. From a humble roadside stand to a global phenomenon, McDonald's isn't just a story of fries and shakes. It's a story of vision, of timing, of persistence, and of how one small idea, made fast and made right, can build an empire. From one humble stand in California to a planet-wide presence, McDonald's has become more than a restaurant. It's a global ritual. Today, the empire built on burgers stretches across over 100 countries, with nearly 42,000 restaurants serving 69 million people every single day.